In this lesson, we're going to introduce the velocity time graph and just describe what information it actually shows. So the example we're going to use here is this velocity time graph, and notice the labels on the axes. We've got time along the x-axis, and along the y-axis this time we've got velocity. Now there are a lot of potential misconceptions that can happen here, so we're going to take things very slowly and describe what this graph actually means. So this tells us how fast a particle is moving and in what direction. It doesn't give us any direct information about the distance travelled. We have to work a little bit harder for that. So this graph here, and let's now put the questions up. This graph here, well, in part A we're asked to describe the motion of the particle over the 14-second journey without performing any calculations. So part A, let's try that. So the person starts at rest at t equals 0. That's that there, starts with 0 velocity. The person then accelerates constantly. An acceleration is rate of change of velocity or change in velocity per unit time. So because the velocity is changing, we know that acceleration is happening. The person then accelerates constantly to a velocity of 8 meters per second over the next 4 seconds. Now this is the confusing part, because you might be forgiven for thinking that they stop here. That's not what this graph says. So they don't stop moving at all. What this velocity time graph is saying is that they maintain a constant velocity of 8 meters per second. So 0.1, 0.2. The person then maintains a velocity of 8 meters per second between t equals 4 and t equals 10 seconds. Then what happens next? The person, well, the velocity is dropping, so the person decelerates. Person decelerates for 2 seconds. Just to be specific, that's between 10 and 12. At which point they reach instantaneous rest. And let's explain what that means. So we've got a velocity of 8 meters per second there, and we decelerate, and here the velocity is 0. They're standing still for the tiniest of split seconds. They are instantly, for 1 instant, standing still there before they change direction. Negative velocity means a change in direction. Then the person changes direction and decelerates to -8 meters per second between t equals 12 and t equals 14. And that's enough to get all the marks in a question like this. So just go over it again. Accelerates up to 8 meters per second, maintains it, then decelerates, at which point here it's got velocity 0, it's instantaneously at rest, changes direction because now it's got a negative velocity, starts travelling back to where they started, and this part here, just to clarify, it's moved from having velocity 0 to having an even lower velocity, minus 8. So even though the velocity is getting more negative, that means the particle's speeding up, but just in the negative direction back towards where it started. So that's the description of what that velocity time graph shows. Part B. Calculate the acceleration of the person in each of the 3 distinct phases of motion. Well, as I said before, acceleration is rate of change of velocity. So it's the gradient of this graph. So let's calculate the acceleration between 0 and 4. Well, we can see that the change in y, or in this case the change in velocity, is 8. And the change in time is 4. So that gives us 2. Now, be careful about the units here, because the units of acceleration are meters per second squared. And the reason for that, if we're doing velocity divided by time, velocity is measured in meters per second, and we're dividing that by seconds. So, simplifying that, we get meters on the top, and s to the minus 1 divided by s to the 1, using basic indices rules, is s minus 2. So that's the reason that acceleration is meters per second squared. Or alternatively, we can think of it as meters per second, meters divided by seconds, per second. So meters divided by seconds again gives meters per second squared. But the standard way of writing it at A level is like that there. So from 4 to 10, we can see it's flat. So it's just 0 meters per second squared. And then between 10 and 14, we can see that the velocity drops from 8 to minus 8. That's a drop of 16, so the difference is minus 16 over 4 seconds. So that's 4 meters per second squared. Negative is the acceleration there. And just a terminology point here. Acceleration of minus 4 meters per second squared. An equivalent thing to say is a deceleration of 4 meters per second squared. Both of those mean exactly the same thing. Right, part C. Calculate the total displacement of the journey and the total distance travelled, clearly drawing a distinction between the two. Let's get this all on the same screen here. So on a velocity time graph, the displacement is represented by the area between the graph and the x-axis. If the area is above the x-axis, it's a positive displacement. So this section I'm highlighting yellow here corresponds to a positive displacement. And a negative displacement will be if the area is under the x-axis, like that. So the green area would correspond to a negative displacement. And we sort of knew that anyway, because if the velocity is negative, we're walking back to where we started. That's a negative displacement. So what we need for the total displacement is the area, but taking into account the signs, because displacement means that the signs are important. So we can simply just use a simple trapezium to find out the yellow part. So the displacement, and we'll label that section A and that section B. So it's 1/2, and we'll treat that as a trapezium, 1/2 of the parallel sides. So this side here is length 2, 4, 6. So half of 6 plus, and the bottom is 12, times the perpendicular height, which is 8, equals, and let's put that in the calculator, 1/2 of 6 plus 12 times 8 equals 72 meters for A. B, just a triangle, 1/2 base times height equals, and that becomes -8. Therefore the total displacement is 72 take 8, which is 64 meters. So that's the total displacement. The particle ends up 64 meters away in the positive direction from where it started. The distance travelled, however, is different. The distance travelled is 72 meters forward, that's that bit there, and 8 meters backward, which is that there. So the total distance, 72 plus 8, which is 80 meters. So I've made it completely clear which is displacement and which is distance as required. Right, part D. How can you tell from this graph that the acceleration is constant? Because they're straight line segments. Straight line segments mean constant acceleration in a velocity time graph, and curved segments would be variable or non-constant acceleration. So part D, because the graph consists of straight line segments and part E, state why the model is unlikely to be an entirely accurate description of the motion of the person. Well, the reason for that is that instantaneous changes in gradient, these sharp changes in acceleration, are very unlikely. If you're running and getting faster and faster and faster, it's almost impossible for you to stop at a particular velocity without juddering, especially here where the change in direction happens. So we'd expect them here to at least judder, because we're going from positive velocity to negative. We'll change direction, yet it's done it so smoothly we would never be able to tell. So constant acceleration without juddering is unlikely. And that concludes this lesson. Have a go at the questions, which are very much like this example here, and just practice, 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 checking all the solutions as you go.